Hi everyone. September 2025 is bringing in the second half of the eclipse seasons for 2025. We're going to have two big eclipses, but what's really important about it is that we're firmly into the new axis of the Pisces and the Virgo axis. So this is going to affect a different area of your life than previously. For the last couple of years, we've been having the eclipses in Aries and Libra. So this is going to be a shift. We're going to go sign by sign and talk about every sign and what it how it may affect you. And we're also going to pull a couple tarot cards for each sign. Before we get into it, I just want to let you know that you are watching the Rock and Roll Prophetess on YouTube. And my name is vickieverlie, and you can find me at vickieverlie.com, whether it's for a reading or the various decks I create or various books I've written, including a tarot book and 3 channel books. Okay, let's get into a little bit more about this eclipse energy. So the first eclipse is going to be on the 7th of September, and it's a full moon or lunar eclipse. So this means that things are coming to culmination, they're coming to fruition. Could be perhaps something that you initiated back when the sun was in Pisces, back in late February and March. It could go further back than that. It could even be the other eclipse cycle, like 7-8 years ago. It could be a lot of different things. But it is going to be something coming to culmination. The full moon lunar eclipse also shows you things. It illuminates, it shows you things. And of the two, I'm sure you may have heard the expression, something will be eclipsed out of your life. Usually that's going to occur on the full moon lunar eclipse. Something can be eclipsed out of your life. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You know, it could be a good thing as well. It could be the new moon too, that something's eclipsed over out of your life. But the new moon solar eclipse, which is on the 21st of September, that's more of the initiation. That's the new beginning. That's the new moon on steroids, the new beginning. We did have a full moon lunar eclipse, the other half of this, back in March 14th of 2025. So this could be something that was started around that time, again with this Pisces energy, and then there's some kind of, it's culminating, and now you're ready to go on to the next leg of your journey, or the next time frame. Another thing that's maybe important to know is that the full moon, yes, it brings things to culminations, but then as it travels over to the new moon, this is the waning stage. So this is a time of releasing. So if there is something that you do want eclipsed out of your life, or you do want to release, this would be a great time to initiate that, or maybe a day or two after. This is always the good time to do your rituals, whether you're comfortable with the word ritual or not, but lighting your candles, making your lists, your manifestation lists. You know, there's all sorts of different ways to go about it. Okay, let's take a quick run through. We're going to go sign by sign, and we're going to start with Aries, and then we're going to move around the wheel. Okay, so if you're, this is particular to Aries rising, but you can check your sun and moon. I think sun especially could have some good factors included into this. But if you know your rising sign, that would be probably the most important thing to look at. And then of course with the cards, it's all, you know, it doesn't really, it's not so particular, you know, it's not so stringent. Okay, so let's go, Aries. So Aries, this is happening in the first lunar eclipse is in your 12th house, so this is a big cycle that's ending. You know, because this is your first house, this is where everything begins, and you go all the way around the 12th sign of the zodiac, and then the 12th house is where everything ends. And this includes not only cycles on your incarnational life in this life, but this includes the soul work. It's big, all this Pisces stuff is big time soul work, you know, so ending of big karmic cycles, major karmic cycles. Something, you could have major illuminations about things from the past. You could find something from the past or a past relative. Spirit guide presence is going to be really strong during this time frame. Now as we move to the second part of the month, on the 21st, the new moon solar eclipse, this is initiating in your 6th house of work and health. Great time to try to find a job. Put out some new job thing. But health is really strong. Any kind of health regimen that you want to start, whether it's eating, exercising, you know, whatever the case may be, you could really have a very strong start and a very powerful new beginning that could stay with you for a good long time, maybe even 6 months or even beyond that. because we're including both of these, you may want to watch both, come back to this later in the month to refresh your memory here, because we have this, the 21st, we're talking about both of them. The first one's on the 7th and the second's on the 21st. But let's go ahead and get 2 cards from Aries from the Hampson Roberts deck for these eclipse season. Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles. That's Earth sign energy, so it could be over there on the new one, yeah. Well, it's going to be powerful. You may get the idea or hear of the opportunity. Sometimes you can get these mystic downloads and stuff with this 12th house activation, but it sure looks like there's initiation of money. Now, I was leaning it more towards health, but this could be the news, the awareness, oh, there's this position opening up, or here's a path I could take to potentially be my new career, or a money stream for me, a money income stream for me. And then use the Ace of Rods, and even the way it's positioned, like this ace points directly right up at this, and this indicates Earth sign time as well. So maybe you're getting the information, the downloads here, and then here you're getting the new beginning. You're actually planting those seeds. You're planting those seeds that are going to bloom and grow and prosper into even, beyond the seedling stage, Okay, next let's take a look at the sign of Taurus. Okay, Taurus, so let's see here. This is going to be on the full moon lunar eclipse on the 7th. Now, I'm covering both of them, so I'm telling everybody you may want to check back again later in the month if you forgot what I said. But the full moon lunar eclipse here, that's happening in your 11th house. Hopes, wishes, and dreams. You could have a readjustment of your dreams and wishes. You may, or a new way to go about things, but also it's groups and friends. I think of it a lot as your groups and friends, your tribe. That's my strongest association with the 11th house. It's also money from the career. But I feel like, there may be some friends coming in and friends going out. You may be changing because you've just been through this major Uranus going through your sign here, Taurus. So you've really been through some big changes. And maybe some of the people that you used to hang around with just aren't a fit anymore. You're in a different zone, you're in a different vibe. Or maybe they are, but you've developed some different new interests, and you have new groups of friends that revolve around these new interests. Okay, the second one on the 21st, which is the new moon solar eclipse, that's happening down in your 5th house. That could have something to do with children. If you're looking for a love affair or a fling, my guides are saying, that could be bringing in love and romance, children. Also creativity. Creativity is really big. You could have major sparks of creativity, because I know many Tauruses are creative. It's because you're ruled by Venus, right? Okay, let's pull out a couple cards here for our Taurus friends for these double eclipse month here of September, eclipse season. News is coming. You're going to hear some news. And an ace of swords. The last person had a page and a sword too. The Aries too. Sorry, Taurus. I had to duck out for a minute because I realized that I put this as the symbol for Leo, but it's Virgo. I hope that I've said Virgo up till now. It's in the right place on the wheel, but I wrote down the symbol for Leo for some reason. So I had to jump in and fix that real quick. So, this is news is coming. It could be fire sign. This could be, though, news that came back in the time of Leo, because that's what I really got out of it. And this card in particular really reminds me of Leo because he wears the emblem of the on his heart chakra, first of all, which is Leo, but the sun emblem, which is also Leo. So it could have been when the sun was in Leo, something came up. There was a lot of funky energy going on around that time. Mercury was retrograde and different things were happening. But now you can have the breakthrough. Ace of Swords is a major breakthrough. I love the way the Ace of Swords is depicted on this card because it shows the dark clouds. It shows that your view is obstructed and you really couldn't see the way to go, or maybe things looked like they were, not looking so great, little dark skies, but then bam, you pierce through, you get the victory, the light shines through the clouds, so major victory, major breakthroughs. Could be in just about any area of life. There is this call to action, though, I want to say, because this fire sign, whether it's fire, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, could even be a child, because this is 5th house, and this is actually can be children too. One of your kids or some kid that you know. But they're both call to action. Fire acts quickly. Ace of Swords is like let's get moving, let's go. It's fire and air energy. So whatever comes about, you don't mull it over too long during the eclipse season. If there's an opportunity, just seize it and go with it, okay? All right, next we're going to take a look at the sign of Gemini. Okay, Gemini, well, this is happening down here in your 4th and 10th house. 10th house of career is going to be the lunar eclipse. So if you're retired or whatever, it's just whatever you're shooting for in life. You know, whatever your goals are, whatever you're shooting for. And you could have a major illumination. You know, you could have a major illumination. You may decide, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Some Geminis could be really changed because Uranus is in your sign now. So Uranus in your sign, it's like, hey, you know, I really don't want to do this anymore. I want to change my whole situation. I'm not interested in doing this anymore. And, you know, you might just do that. The second one is down here in the 4th house. You may even be wanting to move. I feel like a lot of Geminis are just going through big changes. Because, you know, Uranus was in Taurus and many Tauruses went through big changes. But Taurus is a fixed sign. And they're not too keen on moving or going anywhere. It takes kind of a lot to get a Taurus to make a big move. But Gemini, you know, you're ready to go. You got your bag packed. You're ready to go. You know, you're down for whatever. You know, you're ready for anything. You're a little bit more adventurous, let's say. A little bit more. And it has to do a lot about with changes in travel and things like this. So there could be a whole new foundation setting up for you. Because the other thing about this one, I should write it down, that Saturn is involved in this. Saturn will have retrograded, and it's going to be involved in the second one. So Saturn is heavy energy. Saturn wants you to stay put or put down a root or put down a foundation. So you could be making big plans, big changes to change your whole life around during this time frame. All right, next we're going to take a look at the sign of Cancer. All right, Cancer, well, this is happening in your 9th house. The lunar eclipse is happening in your 9th house. Big time spiritual awakening. And it's travel, too. I feel like if you were ever thinking about like going on a retreat of any sort, like a spiritual retreat, or I'm feeling for some there's some sort of ceremony, maybe ayahuasca, but I'm not saying to do ayahuasca because I'm too chicken shit to do it myself. Because I'm so far out there, but you know, or whatever, peyote. It doesn't even have to have any substance involved, maybe, but it does feel like a spiritual retreat of some sort. And even if it's just, you know, some of your do some kind of, I'm seeing like women in a circle, like a circle of women, you know, maybe out in the woods somewhere with you know, doing some kind of. Maybe you're just going to get together with some of your witchy friends if you have some, or maybe your town might have some kind of meetup where there's just some kind of little ceremony going on. But it feels really powerful. It feels really light and fun too. So it's not anything that you haven't. If you have fear around any of these things like ayahuasca, then it wouldn't be that. But it feels really as in the spirit of just fun and that sounds like a fun thing to do. And then you end up getting major downloads from it. And then the second one, now I'm telling everybody, now this is spread out, so I wanted to do them both together though, because they're two halves of the whole. But you may want to come back later in the month and view this again if you think of it. But the second one's all the way on the 21st with Saturn. Now this is in 3rd house, so news, big time news. Some of you may start writing. Some of you, be careful what you write and you say, because your words have a lot of power at this time. And be careful, especially what's in writing, they're saying. So even texting, you know, we probably all have that experience where we pressed text the wrong person and it's like, oh shit, you know. It could be something like that, but if you don't, be careful what you hold your words to, because it feels like somebody could be showing, you said this, or emailed. Be careful that things are clear and what you're committing to. Because you maybe end up trying to, like, getting sucked into something that you're not really ready to commit to, I'm feeling for some. Let's get a couple tarot cards from Hanson Roberts and take a look. We've got the Page of Wands, news is coming. We had him before, and about Empress. Somebody could be pregnant. Somebody could be pregnant, or somebody could be, you know, something about your mother. Good news about health, perhaps, for some people. Pregnancy, abundance, some big creative thing that you're really wanting to do. Maybe this retreat is some kind of a health retreat of some sort where you're going to be doing healthy activities. And I feel like you could really just get a lot out of it. Now again, this feels really Leo. Like this came up in one of the other readings here, that this feels really Leo. with the heart chakra and the sun card. So maybe this was even something that you heard about way back in the time of Leo in August, and now in September, you know, you're going to do it. Maybe you scheduled the trip or the session. Might be even some kind of a healing session. Healing modalities are coming through really, really strong for you, Cancer, for this upcoming thing. Pregnancy, women, healing, mothers, these kinds of things. It's funny, when I saw the women, it almost looked like this. I think they might have been wearing, some of them are wearing these headdresses or something. Very fairy, witchy kind of energy. But if you're not into that, it could be just about anything. Oh, by the way, my new book is out. Forgot to tell anybody about it, but skip to the end if you're interested in hearing about my new book and the accompanying cards that go with it. I'm going to put a little thing on at the end. They'll be out on the 18th. So, okay, next we're going to move on to the sign of Leo. All right, Leo, well, these eclipses are happening in your money houses. The first one is happening, the lunar eclipse on the 7th. The full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your 8th house of other people's money, joint finances, or money from the other person. This is also sex, death, taxes. But you could be aware of something. You could find full moon eclipse, you could find some money. You might find some money. You could find some money like, well, not many people carry cash around anymore, but maybe there's an old jacket that you haven't worn in ages and you find somebody's going to find some money in their closet, especially, and what I'm picking up is like you're going through your clothes, like switching out if you live when the seasons change like I do. In the northern hemisphere here, we're moving into fall months, so you might be putting away your summer clothes and getting out your fall clothes or winter clothes. And you might find some cash, that could definitely happen. But for others, you might find it on like, check all the websites. I have some websites where I used to sell stuff, I used to sell t-shirts or whatever, and then I just, stopped selling on there and different things. And I've gone on there and I said, oh, I've got $7 or $8 coming, or, it's like a little bit, but sometimes it could be even more, or maybe one of these lost fun things. But sometimes you have these little counts going on, especially now with the internet. Or some gift card that you never used, you have a balance, on it or something. But they're saying hidden treasures. And then down here, this new moon eclipse. Now this is later in the month. I'm telling everybody you might want to come back later in the month and watch this again. But I wanted to put them together because it's two parts of the whole. So the new moon solar eclipse down here on the 21st, that's in your second house of money, income. Good time to start looking for a job. Good time to apply for a loan, to do some kind of investing. Anything new with financial is going to be very, very powerful at this time. All right, let's get two cards for Leo. 9 of Pentacles, money, money, money. Money, money everywhere, and the star. Look at this. So the star is really bringing in this financial blessings for you. It's raining down love and blessings and wonderful. I noticed this on another reading recently. But both of these cards have the bird too. It's the lady with the bird, the lady with the bird. See those birds on there? And it's like there's something like sophisticated about it, or it's, my guides are saying opulence. Also, though, this bird you may be getting a message from a bird, and then I brought this up in the other reading. It might be like a little bird told me, when you don't want to divulge your source or something. You might be getting a financial tip. You could get a financial tip. A little birdie told me. But the bird could be a messenger. If you hear a bird, or sometimes they could fly across my windshield and they like sort of dance around. Right? I call them the dancing birds. They like right in front of my windshield, and off they go. And that's when the universe is saying, hey, look. And then I look up the totem. You can look up the animal totem to go of the particular bird. But anyway, so this is all standing out. But you could also be a star in your own field. With this 9 of Pentacles, this is you doing very well financially, being on solid ground, and you have this. You've been guided. You've got the star guiding you, and you are the star. And Leo, you are the star anyway, aren't you? Okay, hey, my new book is out. If you want to learn more about it, it's a book with some cards that go with it. Skip to the end of the video and check it out. And next we're going to move on to the sign of Virgo. Well, you're in it, Virgo. This is it. You are in the mix. No doubt about it. These eclipses are going to be in your sign and your opposite sign. So it doesn't even matter that if you're not Virgo rising, it's still you and the other. It's your opposite sign. The first one on the 7th is in your opposite sign. So it's in at full moon, lunar eclipse in Pisces. So that's going to be some kind of big revelation about your partnerships. Could be your current partner. Somebody out there, I'm feeling like it's somebody that you've known for a long time and you just never saw them that way. And all of a sudden you're going to see like, wow, maybe I do have feelings for this person, or maybe they would be a good partner. Well, you've always put them in the friend zone or something, and now all of a sudden you may see, wow, maybe they do have something to offer, or something that I'm wanting. And then the new moon solar eclipse in your first house. This is a good time to work on yourself. I mean, Virgos, you're so hard on yourself a lot of times anyway. But this is that taking action and making a solid plan to do whatever you're trying to do with yourself. Whether it's physical body, because the first house can be the physical body, or just the path that you want to take in life. You've got ideas about, I get ideas. I get ideas. I don't know, that's an old song. It's like, well, it has romantic undertones. I know that much about it, from what I can remember. Like he gets ideas, like he wants to, be with you. But there may be just this thing. Let me see if I can find that lyrics of that song, because I feel like there might be this little moment, maybe it's in the song. Old song, I get ideas. It's 1927. Originally a 1927 tango, something called Adios Muchachos. What is it though? I get ideas. Here, look, we've got Gene Kelly, and is that Doris Day or something? See, that's the era. It's a song and lyrics by Tony Martin. Let's see here. Oh wait, is it gonna play? Oh, I don't want to play it. I don't want to get a copyright strike here. Hold on. Let's see here. Oh, Spotify. Here we go. Okay, when we are dancing and you're dangerously near me, I get ideas. Yeah, so these are the things. It might be you're dancing and all of a sudden you look at them, it's like, wow, what's up here? I want to hold you so much closer than I dare to. I want to scold you, blah, blah, blah. Okay, your eyes are always saying the things you're never saying. Well, it might be the dancing. Yeah, so when they're dancing closely, you get ideas. You might want to look that song up more and go into it a little deeper. Take a deeper dive into it if it strikes a resonance with you or whatever. But let's get some cards for Virgo. But I mean, this is rolling into next year too. There's going to be eclipses. I haven't started making up my next year's card things yet, but you're in the eclipse zone. You're in the node zone. This first one too is Saturn. I mean, the second one that's you. It's with Saturn is involved. So it could really be long-lasting, it could be really long-lasting with Saturn. But it also could be karmic. It is karmic. Oops, I pulled two, so I'm going to let the two come out. It was Magician and Wheel of Fortune. And then 4 cups, 5 of Cups. So something that you gave up on. That's what that means. Let me turn this off. I don't want it to start playing or something here. I had that Spotify thing. It looked like it was playing here. I don't want to end up playing that song. Okay, so it looks like something that you gave up on is really coming back around here, Virgo. And Wheel of Fortune, that's the time is right. I'm hearing that Bryan Adams. I've heard this before. When the feeling's right, I'm gonna run to you. Yeah, so it could be a person, because I got that, I get ideas, you've got this whole 7th house action thing happening here. So it could be a person. But the cards aren't really necessarily talking about that. The Wheel of Fortune is came out with the Magician. So the Magician is just about everything I was talking about, like your first house. Look, it's number 1. It's like looking out for number 1. It's doing this whole thing of forging your paths straight ahead. Where are you going? What do you want to do with your life? And you've got the power of the Wheel of Fortune, but you've also got the power of destiny behind you. There's this destiny thing with the Wheel of Fortune. For some, it could be something that you gave up on, but if it is, what happened was the timing just wasn't right. You know, that was it. Now the timing is right. Now this eclipse energy is locking everything in place. Full steam ahead with your plans and put them in motion. But relationships are also very much highlighted too. Okay, so Libra, let's take a look at Libra. Oh, Virgo, don't forget I've got my new book out. Check it out at the end of the video. I keep forgetting to say that. All right, Libra, I'll tell you now, I've got my new book out. If you want to learn more, it's bookend and matching cards go with it. It's been a year in my life, and I'll be talking about it at the end of the video if it interests you. Okay, Libra, let's take a look here. So, the first one, these are going to be in your 12th and 6th houses. 12th is the past, 6th house is health and work. The first one is health and work. It wouldn't be a bad time to go get a physical, or go get that mole looked at, or go get something, because there could be some health discovery. But with the eclipse energy, I feel like you could, oops, this one flew out, that's you. You could find it, and, you know, it could be like, you could take care of it quickly. You could discover something and take care of it quickly. Somebody, you're going to find out something about your blood type, or something in your blood, get blood tests, and something's going to come up in a blood test. It could be also a new job, though. You could find out something at your work. You could find out some kind of a scandal or something like that could be revealed around, you know, the 7th energy. This is the 7th, the 6th house of work and health, the first one. Okay, now the second one's all the way on the 21st, so I've been telling everybody you may want to come back later in the month and watch this again for refresh your memory. But it's the 12th house. This is very much a dichotomy. New beginning, which is the new thing, and the 12th house, which is the old thing and the ending. This could be people coming back in your life. That's really what I get out of it for you, Libra. Somebody from the past. Saturn is with this eclipse, so if it is somebody from the past, highly likely that you have some big karmic thing to finish up with them. Some kind of karmic cycle or something like that. The cards are showing, well, this is a representation of you. But this could also be to these people that are involved, these people from the past. Some of you may be saying, I've had enough of this job, because this is saying you're having to work really hard, And this person, it's you, it's a representation of you, but the way it's depicted here in the positioning of the cards, okay? It feels like she's riding your ass. You know, she's on your back all the time, looking over your shoulder, wagging that finger, you know, what are you doing over there? And piling more and more work on you. So for some of you, you may have, like, say, you know what, take this job and shove it kind of energy. You know, you might, 6th house, you could do that. You could decide, I mean, you probably shouldn't walk out or anything without having something lined up, but this could absolutely be, so you've reached the breaking point. You know what, I've had enough of this crap, had enough of her, or him, or whoever, you know, and then if that's the case too, you may end up going back to something from your past. Maybe you're going to go back to a job that you used to do, or a skill that you used to use, or something even you went to school for, or maybe you wanted to do it and you're going to go to school for it. You know, because this is, you've got Uranus going in this 9th house here. You could definitely be open to learning new things. So you may decide, you know what, I'm going to learn a whole new thing here, and I'm just going to, I've had enough of this. I want to say I've had enough of her. But for others too, if you're thinking about initiating something, make sure you know the ins and outs. Make sure you know, because it might turn out to be more work than you're anticipating it to, you anticipated it to be. Okay. Hold on, I don't want my thing going out over there. Next we're going to move on to the sign. Oh, Libra, don't forget about my book. I think I mentioned it. I want to start mentioning it at the beginning. Hey, Scorpio, I'm going to do your reading, but also I have a new book out, and you can go to the end of the video to find out more if you're interested. It's a new book and new cards. Okay, now Scorpio, let's take a look here. These eclipses are happening in your 5th and 11th houses. 5th house is fun, children, romance, love and romance, creativity, and that's going to be the one on the 7th, the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. So you could find out something about your children. If somebody's trying to get pregnant, you could find out somebody's pregnant. You could get a new insight into your creative ideas. There could be some big development of something that maybe you initiated back in Pisces time, earlier in the year, like February, March. So second one, I'm telling everybody you may want to come back to and check this again later, watch it as we get closer to the 21st. But I wanted to do them both because it's a matched set, it's a pair. But here we got the 21st, it's going to be in your 11th house, new moon solar eclipse in the 11th house. So many of you are going to be getting in with a new group of people. Maybe a new income source too, because that's money from the career that stems from your 5th house creativity, or something that you just do for fun. Or for some of you, you maybe, if you're interested in sports, I'm picking up, somebody might be doing some kind of, I don't know, sports announcer, is that the right word necessarily? Do they even have those anymore? Maybe it's some kind of, like a blog or a, joining, fantasy football, is that starting up? This could be maybe you're going to join or run a fantasy football league or something like that. It could be, that's probably what I'm picking up, because I know a lot of people are into fantasy football. I think it probably starts up around this time, right? Football is in the fall. I remember going back to school and there was football games all the time. Listeners, let me double check. When does football season start in the U.S.? Starts Thursday, September 4th. There you go. So I think somebody out there is going to be really involved into this fantasy football thing. That's what I was picking up there. But it could be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Like, I'm Scorpio rising, and I guarantee I'm not going to be in any fantasy football league. It's not me. So, who knows what. Creative stuff, learning. It feels like a tie-in to learning. And after all, Jupiter is in your 9th house, so there could be some kind of tie-in to learning. But let's go ahead and get the 2 cards for Scorpio for the 2025 eclipse season. 10 of Wands again, and that was in the last, I think of the last spread, wasn't it? And then 8 of Wands. Well, yours looks a little better than the other one with who had the 10 of Wands. So yeah, you've been working for a really long time and something's winding down here. Well, for me, my book is out. So I was working on that for an entire year, really hard. And this says now things are starting to move. Things are starting to go quickly. Things are getting better. This task that you've completed that may have felt heavy and bogged you down at times, or this heavy load that you had to carry, is really starting to pick things up. Things are starting to pick up, move quickly. News is coming. Fun and excitement. Looking at the 5th house, grab me again. So you can put these down. See here, he's carrying them all, and they're flying through the air by themselves almost. So you could take it like this too, like maybe you have just a change in attitude. Maybe 5th house, you want to have more fun in life, and you decide to have more fun. And things still get done. You don't have to carry that heavy load all on your own there, Scorpio. But yeah, if somebody's going to be involved in some kind of a fun sports thing or something like that. Hey, I've come out with my new book, and if you want to learn more, head to the end of the video. Otherwise, have a great eclipse season, and next we're going to look at Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Well, your stuff's in the 4th and the 10th, like Gemini. So full moon on the 7th, full moon lunar eclipse in the 4th house here. So home and family. You may find out something about your home. 4th house, it could be in water energy. You may find out that you need some kind of water. You need a plumbing thing done, or there's water somewhere or something that needs to be fixed, or hope it's not your water heater. I had my water heater go this year. I was without a water heater for a long time because they're not cheap anymore. Last time I had it done, it was like $100 for the water heater, and I think I paid a guy $100 to put it in. Well, those days are long gone. The water heater themselves are like $700, and the labor, I mean, it's over $1,000 to get a water heater put in these days, so it's really, the price has really gone up. But just have it checked out. Sometimes you don't have to have it replaced. Sometimes it's just, whatever. There's things underneath that can be cleaned or fixed or stuff. But check that out. Check out all your plumbing. Watch out for the flooding, water, those kinds of things. But it's also emotional. So you could really have some big emotional breakthroughs around your heritage, because this is all your family line, your 4th house, where you came from, and your karmic stuff. It's a lot of karma with these because we're having Saturn involved in these too. Well, the second one in particular. So the second one, and you may want to come back later in the month and watch this again, but the 21st is going to be the second, which is the solar. They're in pair. They travel in pairs, right? Up there in the 10th house, if you're looking for a new career, something could really be blown wide open, they're saying. Something big could be opening up in the career sector up there. starting a new job. That's a great time frame after the 21st to send out those resumes. Take a look on those job boards. Update your resume. Update, your credentials and different things. See what's out there. Maybe even see what's out there. Like I told Gemini, you could be moving with this access. Maybe there's something out there that in a different location, and maybe you could travel. I know you love to travel, Sagittarius. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Saggies. Queen of Swords, air sign person, and 9 of Pentacles. Okay. Well, Queen of Swords, that's the air sign energy, and are we going to be in Libra? Yes, we will be in Libra later, a little later, after these eclipses. Probably like right the next day or something, I believe, like maybe the 22nd, really close to this second eclipse, because it's at 29 of Virgo, so it's like the next day or 2 days later. But this person seems to have an opportunity for you. For some, you could get this news, and then there's this money opportunity, which makes sense up there with that 10th house. Even the color on the stone I picked to represent the sun is very similar. This kind of, the coloring for some reason is getting me. So it feels like this 9 of Pentacles goes up there. So many of you might be working even independently, but you'll find something that is really in flow, that is not all consuming, but takes, you have time for pleasure and leisure. Now, the Queen of Swords here, I feel like for some she's a help. They are a help, could be anybody. But for others, I kind of got, when I was looking at the colors here, it's like somebody might be coming for you. Like coming for your job, or coming for your, trying to steal your thunder, a little bit. So just be a little bit on guard about that. That could be something that's revealed to you on that full moon. Just be a little bit on guard, because it seems like you're set to be doing very well at this time. And she doesn't see her. Like she looks over here, she doesn't see her. It's like she's kind of coming up from behind. So just be wary of that. But for most, I feel like it could be really awesome and good. Hey, Sagittarius, I have a new book out and some cards to go with it. Go to the end of the video if it interests you and check it out. And then next we're going to take a look at the sign of Capricorn. Hello Capricorn, thanks for tuning in for your eclipse reading. Here's what we got. So this is going to be in your 3rd and 9th house. The first one will be on the 7th. The full moon lunar eclipse is going to be down here in your 3rd house. So big news, big communications. You could see something. I feel like many of you are going to see, I'm looking down at a phone and I'm seeing some words and I'm just like, like I don't know if it's good, bad, or what, but it's like, I get this rush of energy. So is it a text or even a website or whatever you're looking at on your phone or email? But somebody's going to get some big news, and it's just like, it takes your breath away, whatever it is. I feel like, to me, it feels kind of like exciting. Like, oh gosh, this is so great. You're kidding. I got the this. I got the job. I got the the award, the whatever. But it could be also scary. Like, oh shit. It could go either way with the eclipse. Now the second one is on the 21st. So I tell everybody you might want to come back and watch this again closer to the 21st. But that's going to be in your 9th house. So new beginning, powerful new beginning in your 9th house. A new field of study. A new way of thinking. Some kind of enlightenment. Expanding your knowledge base. Travel. Tourism. Learning is the highest thing though. You could really like set your foot upon a path of some kind of learning and discovery that's just really awesome and really lights your fire, my guides are saying. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards for our Capricorns. Oops. Page of Swords. I got to see what the other one. I'm putting it back though. Page the cup. It almost came with them. Page of Swords and the Magician. Well, the Magician is independent. These go-getters, very Capricornian. It's really probably Aries card, but it's very Capricornian. Go-getter, going after what you want. Often can be having your own business, doing your own thing. Some kind of news is coming. Well, the 3rd house, news is coming. This is saying news is coming in Aries, so it might be a little bit after as we move into Libra season at the end of September. But we've got some kind of news coming. And Capricorn, Capricorn, you are fired up for it. Magician here, you are fired up for it. And you're ready. You're ready, willing, and able. That's what my guides are saying. You've got everything you need here at the bottom of the table to do the job, to get the job done. and you're fired up and raring to go. So some kind of, and I get that thing again where I'm looking at the phone like, you know, and I'm like, it like takes me by surprise. But it's, I feel for most it's good. Hopefully it's not. Sometimes that kind of energy can be like, oh no, that's bad news. But I feel like it's exciting. It's different maybe than you've done before, but you're down for it. You're totally down for it, Capricorn. All right, and hey, Caps, I got my new book is out with, and it has cards to go along with it. You can go to the end of the video to find out more if you're interested. And next we're going to move over to the sign of Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. Well, these eclipses are happening in your money houses as well, like Leo. So you've got the first one, the full moon solar eclipse on the 7th. I mean, excuse me, full moon lunar eclipse on the 7th. That's going to be in your second house of money. So, I mean, this would be a good time. Maybe get that app that goes through too and tells you all your subscriptions, and you really take a deep dive into your credit card bills and your subscriptions, and just see maybe you're getting charged for something that it could be revealed to you that you've been getting charged for something that you're not even using anymore. But also, it could just be a good time to take a look at your finances overall. You could be receiving some kind of money also, maybe something even dating back to around the time of Pisces, which would have been February and March. Now the second one, I'm telling everybody you might want to come back and watch this later in the month again. It's happening on the 21st. That's in your 8th house of joint finances, money from other people, money from the spouse. This is also the house of death, taxes, and things like that. That's going to be a new moon solar eclipse. I mean, it is conjunct, what's opposing, Saturn's involved in this one, big time. And it's at this high degree, 29 of Pisces and Virgo. So this is super, super powerful. So you could be, just be careful, not necessarily as a caution, but just know, just know that things that you're getting involved in at this time, they could be really set up for the long term. So you may want to get a lawyer or somebody like that to kind of look things over, because there's long-term things that are going to be, Saturn makes it long-term, and there's karmic things too. And this is also one of the houses of ending. Some people may be dissolving a business partnership, dissolving a marriage. And you might be at the point here where you're dividing up the financial assets. And there may be lawyers involved and stuff for some. But it's going to be different for everyone. Check your rising and moon. Hey, Aquarius, my new book is out. If you want to check it out, it's at the end of the video. You can find out more. It also has a cool deck of cards that goes with it. Okay, last but not least, here we go, Pisces. Well, Pisces, you're in it. This is a full moon lunar eclipse right in your first house. The biggest thing probably could be, that you're just going to get these big awareness about yourself, about who you are, what you're doing, because you're so deep anyway, Pisces. You guys, you think about these things. Who you are, what you're doing here, what's it all about, Elfie? I'm hearing. I'm not singing it. I'm not singing it. They keep going on about it. What's it all about, Elfie? Okay, that's all. Okay, full moon in Pisces, full lunar eclipse in Pisces. You can definitely decide to eclipse some things out of your life. That's a definite possibility with this energy for you. Something wants to be eclipsed out of your life, moved, removed from your life, just period. So this first one, you're going to have this big awareness. It could be a birthday wish coming true. Some of you, for your birthday wish, might be coming true from back in February, March, and you might be thinking, I don't even want this. You could just really have a big change in direction in your whole life here. Big realizations, big changes of directions. Okay, now the second one's on the 21st, and I am telling people maybe you want to come back later in the month and watch it again. But this second one is in your house of partnerships. Some of you might have a realization like, hey, I can't go it alone anymore. This is just too much. I need help. And then the 21st, that person could show up. It could be just like you're hiring somebody, like an assistant, or maybe you're hiring somebody to help with your yard work or your house, cleaning and different things. But maybe usually this is a partner, like a romantic partner, could be a business partner. But it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be long-standing with that Saturn involvement. Saturn's moving back into your sign, by the way, in the beginning of the month. So Saturn's going to be back in your first house or back in your sign. So a little bit more of that heavy energy, but it's kind of like a final clearing of the last few years for you with this lunar eclipse. It's kind of like, okay, Saturn, what have you done? Now I'm going to get rid of the things that I'm ready to let go of the things that no longer serve me. Let's get 2 cards for Pisces for the eclipse season of September. Got 1, 2. 10 of Wands. That's been out a lot today. That's been out in several readings in 7 of Wands. Well, we can't leave it like that. Okay, well, I'm going to shuffle till one more flies out. This looks like a lot of hardship and struggle. You know, this is doing really suffering. Well, it may be that full moon could say, hey, you need help. And then in the new moon, you're going to have to get the help that you need on whatever level. That could be. But what's on the bright side of this for Pisces? Let's see if I can find one card. Oh my God, are you kidding me? That's not great either. See, they're saying you're going to wear yourself down. That's what I mean. Check your rising and moon, because I don't know. I'm going to get the Ten of Swords next. I don't want to keep fooling anymore. But you know, this is saying that you're worn out, toe down to the flow down. They're saying, you know, you're very worn down. Saturn can do that to you. Saturn can be that taskmaster. And you know, with this moon and this lunar, and you're so watery, it could just be your own emotional state. It may not be that you're physically out there, you know, plowing the fields or whatever here, you know, but you might be, your emotional state could just be, you know, feeling really, you know, drained. Because you're so empathic too, Pisces. That's another thing about you. You're very empathic. So you need to take some time to charge yourself. You need to hand off the work to other people where possible. This could even be at your job. You may have to talk to your boss and say, hey, you can't keep piling all this work on me. I need a helper. You need a helper. And this new moon could bring somebody in that would be a great help to you on the 21st, this new moon, solar eclipse. Great help to you, long-lasting, really help. Give you a lot of help here, because this can't go on. We can't go on for longer. Whoa. Heaven, I think it's by heart. Yeah, I think it's called Heaven. Well, watch yourself, Pisces. Take it easy. Check your rising and moon, because it's not all gloom and doom. But I mean, you got to really watch not wearing yourself down. This could make you aware of where you need to chill out a little bit. I was saying this in another reading recently too. You know, the dishes or whatever, that can all wait. You got to take care of yourself first. Okay, everybody, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about my new book that I'm so excited about. Have a great eclipse season, and I'll be right back. Hi everyone, vickieverlie here to talk to you about my new Eerie, Lake Erie book. This is a really cool book. I've been working on it for over a year. It was a ton of research, and I had fun like drawing all the characters and everything. It's sort of like a comic book, but it's much better quality than a comic book. It's got really good paper. It's got a really nice Saturn, it's funny I said Saturn, satin finish. Also, it's bigger. It's a lot bigger than a traditional comic book. It's 8 by 10. And the paper inside is like 60-pound paper. So it's not newsprint, is what's, you know, usually a comic book. So it's all about the eerie tales of Lake Erie. And once I dove into it, there was so many. It was really crazy how much there was. And I didn't even put it all in the book. So it was just this big ordeal, big undertaking. I did a ton of research. I had so much research. And then I had to put them in sort of categories, and then I had to condense it down. I had way too much information. So here's what we got. This is the first introductory page, and I have this QR code. I have all kinds of merch and stuff available too that I did, t-shirts and stickers and different things. Okay, so then I go through the different topics. This is the geography, There is a giant geode at the bottom of Lake Erie. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens around these energy vortex. And there's also huge salt deposits. So I talk about that in this part. Next, I go back to the ancient mound builders. I found out in my research that I know that there's mounds in Ohio, and I've been to the Snake Mound and some of the other ones that are still standing, but there were pyramids all along the shore of Lake Erie. There was all these pyramids everywhere. And I found out all this information. There was a guy, Charles Whittlesey, I believe, Whittlesey. He made this map, and there was a whole bunch of them, and there's still, like, it's really interesting to know. And I'll say it in this video. I don't know if I'll say this in the general media, but when I tuned in with my guides, they said it was a healing center, that the pyramids were a healing center. There was a big one. He talks about that. There was this big giant one right at the mouth of the Cuyahoga River. And, well, they knew from the excavation that it wasn't a burial mound, because they found tools and stuff in there. There was no bones. But what it was, what I found out through my meditations and through my channeling, was that it was a healing place. And my guide said that people came from all over to be healed there. And what's interesting is Cleveland, Ohio, is home to the Cleveland Clinic in the modern day. And people come from all over the world to the Cleveland Clinic to be healed. And I thought that was just so crazy. That was one of the crazy things that came up. Also in Cleveland, Ohio, we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is a big pyramid. So there's a pyramid on the shore of Lake Erie now, today, near where a lot of these things used to be. So pretty interesting. And then I go back, because these mound builders, they predate the indigenous, and then I go into the indigenous tribals, some of their stuff. I had such a blast drawing some of these creatures and everything. I just had really a lot of fun doing that, and it's a lot. There's a lot of information too. And then I found out also that it's called the Graveyard of Ship, that Lake Erie has the highest concentration of ships wrecks in the world, even more than the Bermuda Triangle. And then I talk about a few of the more famous Eerie kind of tales, and she's the Storm Hag. This is a myth. And then over here I have a list, and some of these are available. This one's available as a poster too. This is a list of all the known shipwrecks, but it's way more than they really know. These are the ones that they know the names of, and I put them in chronological order. Next I did the Lake Erie monsters, which there is a famous one called the Lake Erie Monster Bessie, which is very much like Loch Ness. But over the years, there's been a whole bunch of them. And this is actually a fossil of actual bones they found of this big creature. So I talk a little bit about these. These are all available like for t-shirts. And then the pirates, I knew nothing about. I lived on the shores of Lake Erie my entire life pretty much, and I knew nothing about pirates of Lake Erie. But they had them. And there might even be some buried treasure. This is another one that's available as a poster, but it talks about the various pirates and the legends around that. Then we had to talk about Niagara, and Niagara is an energy vortex in itself too. I included some of the indigenous ones, and then this is the Hobgoblin of Fort Niagara. It's a more modern day one. And this is kind of just an overview. I've tried to make this look like a postcard, you know, from Niagara. I even put a little postage mark on it. And then the Tesla, he had to have his own page, because he's just, so he came half a way around the world to be at Niagara Falls. Since a child, he wanted to be there. He knew that there was some energy that had to be, and this isn't the only waterfalls in the world, you know. He was drawn to this area, and he was such an advanced, you know, person too. So I did a whole page just on him. And then next, this is the spiritualists, and I knew some of the spiritualists. I've been to Lilydale, New York. Okay. It's a place right outside of Erie, PA. I have the Lilydale. I have an old school map here. This is a fun collage one I did. This is also available in a poster. This was back in the 1800s. But this spiritualist movement, it was turned into a worldwide thing, but it sprung up right around the shores of Lake Erie. Some of these are the Fox Sisters. They were the famous ones from the Buffalo, Rochester, Hydeville area, of these mediums who would have seances and things like that. Lilydale, New York, as I mentioned. So I'd heard of the Fox Sisters, and I've been to Lilydale, because Lilydale, I think, now has the Fox Sisters home was moved there, or would spend some time there. Maybe it's not there anymore. But they tie the Fox Sisters in heavily. If you go to Lilydale, you'll hear about the Fox Sisters, because it's all New York up here. But over here, there was some other ones that were famous that I didn't know about, that I found out in my research, and they were the Tuttles. And they were based in the Ohio, Here's some of the places on the map. They lived in Berlin Heights, but they had the first ever spiritualist thing. He wrote some famous books, the male Hudson Tuttle here. And he was even mentioned, he was friends with, and he was even mentioned in Darwin's Descent of Man. They hung out with Darwin, and they were friends with Darwin. But they had the first ever spiritualist convention, and they were based more on the Ohio border. But this was a whole thing. The spiritualist movement was a big thing back in the mid-1800s, even leading up to the 1900s, and it was all around Lake Erie. Okay, because I feel like that geode is an energy vortex. And then, of course, you can't do something about the magic of Lake Erie without including the two guys that invented Superman, was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Joe Shuster and Jerry Sigil. And I knew of that, of course, you know, that they were born here. Actually, Cleveland just unveiled, I was already working on this book, I didn't even know, but just real recently, because a new Superman movie came out, and Cleveland just unveiled this big statue in honor of these guys and Superman being born here and everything. But as I researched it more, this guy, Jerry here, he was channeling, basically. And these symbols and stuff, that's light language. I mean, it really is. And he would go to sleep and he came to him in a dream. And then he would get these downloads and everything. So I talk about that. And he's not far removed from Edgar Cayce. I talked a minute about Edgar Cayce, because Edgar Cayce would go to sleep and get all these wild symbols and dreams. And then this whole thing about the Elohim, because all of the people have that L in their name, and the Elohim is a thing through religion, but also the Fortress of Solitude. I mean, I've been in that giant geode in Lake Erie. It was open at the time that they were alive. It was already discovered and opened. It opened in the 1800s. This was the early 1900s, I think 1920s, that they met in school, yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if that Fortress of Solitude was actually came out of the geode that's in the Lake Erie over there in Sandusky. And then Bigfoots. I did not know this, that I would have thought the Pacific Northwest, but they are in, but the top 10 lists of the most Bigfoot sightings, year after year, are in all the states surrounding Lake Erie, including Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. So this is just, that talks about that, and then this talks about some of the more famous ones or the most wanted. I made them into little most wanted posters. And then the terrestrials, I called this section. It's just the more modern day cryptids that are around. Some of the more famous are the Mothman, and then the Nain Rouge or Detroit Demon. They even have a big party and festival for the Detroit Demon every year. It's right on the very tip of Lake Erie, on the very northwest corner there. So that was interesting. And then with the UFOs, it's the same. Well, I knew about the UFOs because we have the Ohio had the first NASA. We have two NASAs. Some of the first NASAs. Many people have seen aliens and UFOs over the lake. Many people have. And so I talk about that. I did some cool drawings on this. I don't know if you can really see, but I did a bunch of light language around the edge of this spacecraft that I drew. Drawing the pictures was the funnest part of the whole thing, and doing the layout for the book here. And the crop circles. Same with the Bigfoot and the aliens every year. The states around Lake Erie have the highest incident of or in the top 10 of crop circles. Ohio's way out in front. Ohio has way more crop circles than anybody else consistently. And it's not the biggest. I tried to figure it out. I was going to put in all the statistics about per square foot. Ohio has some farmland. Yeah, it's a farm. There's 3 big cities too, but per square foot, there's many places that have much more farmland. Like in Kansas, I don't know if that's for sure, but I did the math. I had a whole list: Iowa, Kansas, I think even Texas was on the list of. But it was too complicated to explain. But Ohio doesn't have the most farmland. Okay, Ohio's not number 1 on the list because it has the most farmland. It's just because there's some energy stuff going on here. And these are pictures. These are actual shapes of the actual ones that have been discovered in Ohio. I kind of put them together in like a sort of a background collage, and that's the end of it. Now the back too, I had a blast with the back of it. I paid homage to some of the old comic book ads from back in the day. I redrew all of these and did them differently, but the sea monkeys and the X-ray specs and the different things. That I didn't draw, it's just clip art, but I manipulated it, you know, and I got it way down. Actually, that's clip art too, but I changed, but their hands were screwed up really bad. I had to redraw the hands. And the different things, most of these I've drawn though. I drew those, that was really fun. And the mystery gift and all this stuff. So that's the book. So then I finished the book, and then I was thinking, what about some trading cards? They're not actually trading cards because it's a full set, but it's more like a collectible card. So I did these cool cards to go with them. So you open it up, and it says, it's got the code to visit it's a link tree for now. So the packaging, I had fun with this too. These doodles are in places on the book too, and they're in the background of the cards. So you open it, it says the first offering of the Erie Lake Erie card collection, and then it says featuring the cast of characters from the Erie Lake Erie comic. It's got a couple of the people on there, and then it's got some additional information. But I drew all these scary monster doodles all over, and they're in some of the pages on the book, or one page on the book. They're in the intro. Here they are. They're in the background and the intro too, some of them. So I had a blast doing that too, drawing these little monsters and stuff, and then putting that whole thing together. And then the other side is just like this. And then here's the books. Well, Tesla is by himself. He's in a category by himself, but they're kind of color-coded. And it says on here, like, he's a historical figure and visionary. And he has his own color. Each one has their colors. These are historical figures, the spiritualists. They have like this muted color of the day. And then I have, actually I want to kind of keep them in the same order, yeah. Then I have all the Bigfoots, they're in green, so it says like Bigfoot, cryptid, folklore, and then just a little bit of blurb about them. At some point I may make a game out of this, because the game would have been just too much. I would never have gotten it done in time. You know, I started this book last August thinking I was going to whip it together, and because I can do a comic book in a couple, 3 weeks, you know. I thought, well, just not much different from a comic book. I mean, not a comic book, a coloring book. No, it took me working all the time for over a year. Well, about a year solid. I mean, it turned out to be a lot. So then making this into a game is a whole other thing. But I have an overview of a game that it could be, and I could redesign the cards. But anyway, so here's the indigenous. They're in sort of a brown and tan color. And then the sea creatures, of course, are going to be in blue. And then we got the cryptids, or the land creatures, or the terrestrials. They're in sort of like a grayish whatever. And then I've got the two authors of Superman. I had to kind of use similar colors to that, capture that theme. Yeah, so this was a big undertaking, a big labor of love. If you're interested in it, or you know anybody who is interested in comics, or collecting cards, or horror, or whatever, here's the QR code. I'm going to tag on the end my little promotional video. I'll tag it on the end if you didn't catch it on social media. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I hope you like my new creation. I'll be back again soon with some more readings. Till then, bye.